Hello everybody and welcome to this model engaging citizens in the city through media installations. My name is Jennifer García Carrizo and I am a postdoctoral researcher in citizen participation and in citizen engagement in the city. So in this model we are going to be working in one main question, which would be how can we engage citizens in urban spaces through media installations and digital screens. Considering that, the most accurate course description would be this course is about discovering how media facades and other architectural installations can engage citizens and achieving a higher sense of belonging and stabilizing a relationship with those places. So, what do you have to do in this course? Okay, first of all, let me introduce you probably the most important media installation on our cities, which would be probably the digital signage and the advertising screens. So let's have a look to a video about how these advertising screens can be integrated and how they have been integrated in South Korea, specifically in Seoul.
Now, if you live in South Korea, you might have already come across it yourself, the huge digital wave in the middle of Seoul. Now, this realistic animation of a wave crashing in a visual aquarium on South Korea's biggest digital billboard is grabbing people's attention. Ocean waves crashing loudly in the heart of one of the world's biggest cities. Powerful waves curling and swirling within a see-through water tank. This anamorphic illusion, situated in downtown Seoul, is dazzling visitors. This huge 80 by 20 meter wave trapped inside what appears to be an aquarium is a public art installation displayed on South Korea's biggest digital billboard. It's also one of many digital information displays that have been deeply immersed in our daily lives. Dubbed digital signage, it's a form of digital installation that beams multimedia content for informational or advertising purposes and are gradually being seen in major cities around the world. Leading the industry, South Korean tech giants Samsung and LG Electronics. Samsung Electronics has been dominating the market for over a decade, controlling 27% of the global market share in 2019, followed by its local rival LG Electronics with 12%. Translate that into monetary figures, research firm Omdia forecasts the industry to reach over $15 billion by 2023 from $12.5 billion this year.
Screens have become lifestyle products. They not only make a statement in our homes, but they reflect and enable our daily lives.
It's already become part of our daily lives with fourth-generation digital signage that uses artificial intelligence. From interactive displays that are already readily available to holographic advertising and face recognition based on personal information built into glass, these are some of the next steps the industry is preparing to take. But industry watchers say that getting to that point is going to take a while.
There isn't strong market demand as much of the focus remains on smartphones and display panels. That's the reason why we haven't seen much development within the sector.
Still, while it may not seem essential right now, it's important that South Korean firms maintain their strong lead in global market before the industry sees an explosion in demand as we head further into the fourth industrial revolution.
Now that you probably can understand better what we are talking about or an example about media facades, I would like to let you know that in the first session we will have a bigger introduction than this one, in which we are delving into the idea of how media facades and other architectural installations in specific urban places can engage citizens, and then we have a problem brainstorming, which is not gonna depend only on me, but also on you. What kind of problems or what do you want to research about when we are talking about media facades? In these terms, it's important to consider that theoretically this model is not about how this screen can be technically developed or how these screens can survive in very difficult environments, as for example the desert. So this model is more about how these media facades or this media installation can be introduced in our cities in order to engage citizens. And in these terms, or talking in this regard, it's important to consider other aspects, as for example how we architectural or how we integrate these screens in urban planning and architectural aspects. So in these terms, here is a video which really summarizes this idea and delve into this idea, which I think is going to be very interesting for you to understand what is the core of this model.
When designing a media architecture project, it's not about technology, square meter, LED pricing, or for that matter, how much power it consumes. It's about urban planners, designers, and how we actually integrate the entire process from idea development into final delivery.
We have been around in Aarhus for about 110 years, and we are very grateful for our loyal customers through the years. And that's why we want to give people in Aarhus something back. There's no profit in this project. It's all about joy and greetings and communication. We had this huge cost of pulling all the old Christmas decoration up and then 1st of January taking it down again. And then we thought, why not put something up who could be on the facade all the year round.
As Chief City Architect in Aarhus City Council, we're very interested in branding Aarhus. And one of the important layers of Aarhus is the architectural approach to things, and we have very high quality architecture in the city. And when we start talking about media architecture, it's the next layer, which I'm very interested in working more precisely with. So when we have an opportunity to work with a company like Salling and Martin Light and Collision, it's a great opportunity to be first movers in our city.
Collision is a Danish design office working with space, technology and people, and within that field we have a large focus on media architecture, which is when light and media integrate with buildings and urban spaces. A team of Martin by Harman and design office Collision developed an infrastructure and a layout and a language of light in dialogue with the city architect.
One of the important parts of such a process is the community around. We're very concerned about how the local residents on the streets will react. So we've made some processes where the architects and the client invite them to discussion to present their ideas and try and get some feedback from the local community.
We provided a design manual, and the purpose of the design manual was to frame the aesthetical boundaries describing scenarios of day-to-day use cases.
The founders thought about the facade changing colors. When people take their smartphone or Android and take a Snapchat or just a picture and share it with other people in Aarhus and around, and then we have an Instagram moment, and that's very important for us in connection with our social media platforms.
One of the great pluses about this is that the company Salling have been very interested in making it a cultural event. Like Gay Pride recently, they used the rainbow colours on the facade.
We have created a large variety of lighting designs, and among them an interactive element where people can contribute to the facade by literally picking up their smartphone and by running their finger across the small screen they draw with light on the large screen.
One of the great tour de forces of media architecture, you can communicate with people directly. You can't do it with a normal facade. It's a very nice opportunity to do something really interesting. As a city council, we're in a process of becoming a partner with the private industry, and we find it very interesting that we can actually be a facilitator for action rather than reactive but proactive. And of course there are authority questions, regulations and things, but rather than say yes or no, we like to just go into the dialogue working together. We talk a lot about participatory design with the local community, but it's also very much an important part of developing an idea or concept around the project itself with the client, with the manufacturers, the producers and the design consultants. It's not standalone, it becomes an integrated part of a larger picture. I mean, the branding experience of Aarhus is just growing and growing and growing. And I hope we can have more of these types of facades strategically located in the city, not everywhere, but positioned in a way which kind of makes something special.
We see an ever-growing audience, and our ability to create unique moments is clearly a result of a close collaboration between the design community, our customers, and the investment we put into it.
Okay, so now that you can understand better what we are going to talk about, after this first and second session, you should be defining the problem and review your search questions. In other terms, what do you want to research about? After that, you will need to do a critical literature review, reporting on the findings of the review, and considering the 10 basics papers that you will find on Toledo, and also obviously you have to do your own research. In your own research, probably you will find more papers and more researches which are important for your specific for resolve your specific question. So you have to go into that idea and consider that it's not only about the bibliography I will provide you, it's also about the bibliography you will find to delve into your main question. And then after that, at the end, you can do a design example through research lens. So in that terms, you have to look for and select an example related to the problem that you have been describing during the model, and you have to report and analyze the example. Alternatively, you can always create your own design example and explain it briefly. That would be very interesting. Okay, so just finishing this short introduction, what is what you have to do about? Well, obviously, as you have probably realized, this is about how media facade and other digital installations, and that's very important because we also need to go or to research more about what are other media installations. Here I have just brought an example, so obviously there are other ones. So the idea is to research about how these media installations can be integrated in the urban space. How can we play in between media installations and urban space to achieve a better citizen engagement with our cities and our urban spaces. So thank you so much for your attention, and I really hope you have enjoyed this small presentation.